Hello guys, welcome to the next episode of Let's Theorycraft Football Manager. Doing something a little bit different. When I was doing my Let's Theorycraft Advanced Youth Development, one of the things in the spreadsheet that I had mentioned it, just briefly mentioned it, was left foot, right foot, and why it might be important to list it there. And at the time I couldn't really come up with a good reason on why it might be important. But I was thinking about it a little more and thinking, why would you want to know what foot is his stronger foot? So I thought about it, and then I thought to myself, well, what about those times you have a player who goes on a breakaway, your striker goes on a breakaway, goes on a one-on-one shot, takes a pop, and the ball goes flying off and almost hits the corner flag. And it's very frustrating when that happens. So what could possibly the reasons be for that? Well, obviously you'd look at things like decision making, finishing if he's shooting outside the area, composure and things like that. The other thing to consider is, what if he was using his weaker foot? What if, for example, let's take Henrique for example, who, looking at his stats, he is an amazing finisher, he has great finishing, great composure, great decision making, gets into amazing positions, very agile, he's got good anticipation. You'd expect him to pop a lot of goals in the back of the net. So what could hold him back? Well, you'd certainly look at this and say, well, it wouldn't be any of his mental stats or his technical stats or certainly any of his physical stats of getting into a position. But I mean, looking at this page here, obviously all of the other stuff that we've talked about has been personality, media handling style, preferred moves, and things like that. And, even to some point, nationalities, what nationalities they have. One thing though that hasn't been mentioned is what foot they use. Now, if you think about it, the opposition instructions that other teams might use has make them use the weaker foot. Now, one of the benefits of FM 2014, and I don't think I can do it on this guy, but if you do technique, they actually got a new option here. I would like you to start coaching Henrique to develop his weaker foot. It doesn't always necessarily work, but if not, they can always say avoid using his weaker foot. Now, sadly, I don't really have any stats that I can pull up to sort of confirm this or deny this. There's no way that I can go through the stats and say how many shots have you taken with your left foot, how many shots have you taken with your right foot, and what was the results of them. But it's certainly something to consider. I mean, obviously with a lot of the players I have, or most of the players I have, it's they're a little bit older. But I mean, even think about going back to, say, your midfielders. If you have a young midfielder, let's take this guy. I mean, he's reasonable and very strong. If you had a guy that was very weak on his foot, you could maybe tell him to avoid using his weaker foot, which would be beneficial for your team because it means that he's always going to use his best foot, which he'll be strong / very strong in. And then you know that he won't maybe misplace a pass or something like that. And it's certainly something to consider with your youngsters as you're going through it, especially ones with high potential, to look at them and maybe consider training one of the first things to, if they have a very weak foot, to either see if you can improve it or just get them not to use it. Now, that could also open up a few issues in the fact that they might not take the shots in that they need to, but it's certainly something worthwhile considering to either develop or avoid their weaker foot. Hope you guys have found this useful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Don't forget you can follow me also on my Twitch channel as well, which there's links to on my YouTube page. And let me know what you think. Comment below, share it with your friends, and I will see you next time.